Hello, everybody. I hope you are well. Everything is going well there. Today we are going to learn scope, but before today's lesson, let's review the previous lesson. You know, uh, instead of learning, I think the most important thing is review. Reviewing, because if you cannot remember what you have learned before, it will be hard to remember them when you need them. Okay, where were we? We were here, I think. Let me check for a second. Yes, we were learning while loops, overloading, and we have learned while loop. The loops are very important, and we are always using them in actual coding. Yes, they are very important. Let me check something. I think there's a problem with the YouTube. Yes. A second, please. Still, it did not start. Okay, I informed technical stuff. Yes. Right now I can see the YouTube. It has started. So yeah, in the previous lesson, we have learned how to use while loop. The most important thing here, when to use, what to use, of course. According to tasks you receive in your job, you should choose one of the loops. There were for I loop, while loop, while loop. We have learned them. If you know how many times you will execute a loop, you can use, actually you should use for I loop. If you do not know how many times you are planning to execute same loop, you should use while loop. Like the passwords, we do not know how many times the user will attempt to enter the password. So it's a while loop question. But here, when we use while loop, if you remember, where is the, let's here, we have a while loop here. The condition is checked at the beginning of the loop. If you don't want to check it after the loop you are looking for is the while loop. Where is it? It's here, just like this. The curly brackets and the while. Don't forget, when you use the while loop, the code you write here in the do body will be executed at least once, because condition will check after the loop. That's the main difference between them. And we have tried to solve a few questions about them. I hope you got what I'm trying to explain here. And we have also other questions in the slide. You can check them. Today's topic is also very important. We are going to learn scope. From the name, it's a little hard to understand, I know. Scope means when you have a method, in the method, which variables you can use. We will try to understand that part. Sometimes you will, if you are trying to write the code we have learned so far, sometimes you experience that, I think you have experienced, you cannot reach some variables, or when you create a variable in the main method, and when you create another method, you cannot reach that variable. Yes, it is because of the scope. Not all the variables can be used from everywhere. Okay, first, this time, instead of writing the code, we will start with checking the slide. First, we will try to understand the logic then we will try to put it in action. Yes, scope is the area where the variable can be reached, accessed. This is very important in coding. When you create, where you create the variable is the key here. For example, we have 3 scopes here. Let's check this code. There are a lot of variables created here. They do not have any values. It's not important right now. This is the main method. Let me show you by drawing. This is the outside of any method. This is starting from here, from the name, you can understand this is the main method. This is the main method. Here we have another one. This is the method 1. Another method created other than main method. Scopes, when you got it, if you can see the differences between them, the rest will be easier for you. Local variables, for example, local variables means the variables which are created in a method. This is main method, and in this main method, we have a variable here. It is created in this method. How do we understand that? If you see the data type, it means this is created in this method. The name is number, data type is integer, and the value is 10. Okay. This is other local variable. You know, if the variable is created in a loop, in a method, it will be a local variable. There are one more type of local variable. We are going to see it in a few minutes. Okay, local variables are the variables created within a method or code block. Okay, this is a better explaining. But the key is, if variable is created inside of a method, it will be a local variable. You know, let's imagine there's a child, and he's a good child, but he was born in a village, and in his life he hasn't left that village. This village is a very small village, you know, and everybody knows each other. So the child's name is Ali. In this village, everybody knows Ali. He's a sweet, intelligent, smart kid. Sweet, smart kid. Okay, we have Ali. Small village name is village A. But let's say we have another village. This is village B. It's also small. In this village, if you ask somebody, do you know the kid named Ali? Then the answer will be no. This other village cannot reach Ali's knowledge, information. It's like this. Ali is a local child living in this village, and the other village does not know, other village people do not know anything about the smart kid named Ali. It's like that. If you create a local variable, it will belong to that method. The method will be that variable's village. Other village won't be able to reach that variable. They won't have the info about that. They won't know the kid's name or anything about his character. So we have learned local variables. The key is If it is created in a method or method code block, it will be a local variable. And from other villages, I mean the methods, you cannot reach or use it. I'm planning to write a few things about them. This is the main method. This is also another method. Each one of them is like a village. This is for while loop, as you can see. Also, if you create a variable in the for while loop, any loop, it will be a loop variable too. It will be like a local variable. You can't reach it from outside of the loop. It's very important. When you create a variable in the loop, and because of that, we are not creating any variable in the loop. It's very important. Instead, we always created them before the loop. When you create a variable in the loop, at the end, you won't be able to reach them. If the creation is done in the loop, you cannot reach them after the loop. Okay. Class level variables means when you create any variable inside of the class limits, those are the class limits, but outside of any code block like methods or loops, like these things, there will be class level variables. As you can see, they are created here inside of nothing. They are just there in the class. And because of that, we call them class level. What's the difference? When you create a class level variable, it can be reached from all the methods. The scope of this variable is very comprehensive. It can, when you are here, you can see all the methods. There's a limit. If it is non-static variable, like this one, non-static, you cannot use it in normal methods because static is a elite and they do not enter normal methods. But when it is the static, you can use it in static methods and also normal methods. Class level variables are created outside of the methods and code blocks. Their scope is entire class. If you are here, you can see everywhere in the class. But if it is not static, you may not be able to use them in a static method. That's important. Yes, static keyword is also important, as I told you. Shortly, local variable, a variable, if you create it in a method or a code block, it will be a local variable, and it can be used in that code block, I mean method. You cannot reach it from outside of the village. Class variable outside of any code block or method, when you create a variable like this, you can reach it from everywhere. But if the method is static, you cannot directly reach it. If the variable is not static, there are ways to reach it, but don't worry, we are going to touch that topic too. Okay, scope. Yes, local variables means it's created in a method or code block. We have the main method here. This is the main method starting and ending here. And this is another method. The second method is not static. The first main method is static, as you can see. But don't worry about that for now. I just wanted to mention that. And when we create a variable inside of a code block method, it will be a local variable. Here, this one has a data type. It means it is being created here. So this makes it a local variable. When we check the others, no, there is no creation here. No, this is also a creation because I can see the data type of the variable. This one is created here first time. So this is also a local variable because it is inside of another method. It means this variable can only be used in the method one. This string str can be used only in the method one. It is same for the integer number 2. This number can be used only in the main method. I cannot use this number variable here, or I cannot use a str variable in main method because they do not know each other. They belong to different villages, and we cannot reach. They cannot reach their information. Yes, this is the local variable belongs there. This is another local variable, and it belongs to this method. Yes, local variables can be used in the created method. If they are created in a method, they can only be used in that method. When you try to use them outside of the scope, I mean the method, it will be compile time error. For example, here, if you try to print the value of str, which is created in the other method, it will compile time error. There will be a lot of red things there. At the same time, if you try to print the value of number, which is created in the main method, in other method, there will be a lot of angry faces there. Java will get angry with us, and we won't be able to use it. Hey man, we do not know where the number is, where the number is from, or we cannot reach it. Things like that may happen. If you want to reach a variable from all the methods, instead of creating a local variable like this, they should be created in class level. I mean, class level means outside of any method. Let me check something before continuing. Okay, let's continue. When we complete this local variables topic, we will try to solve a few questions about them. But let me check if we have any question. If you have any question, please do not hesitate to write them in YouTube channel. I cannot see them directly, but I'm checking them frequently, so I will be able to answer your questions. But they might be 15 seconds lag between the question and the answer. Okay, let's continue about local variables. Yes, when you are creating a local variable, like this one, this is the main method, this is other method. When you create it, yes, you can create the variable without assigning any value. Here, the system, the coder has created an integer number without assigning anything to it. When you try to increase its value by 1 by this ++ code, Java will complain. Oh, it will say, hey, the number does not have any value. How will I increase something that hasn't been created yet? As you can see, because of that, you will see red line under it. The second one is exactly the same situation. We have created an str without assigning any value. There is no equal symbol here. And when you try to print it, Java will again complain about that. Hey, what they're doing, I do not know what value this one has, so I cannot print it if it has nothing. If you do not assign any value to a local variable, you won't be able to use them in action. Okay. You know, this is the main method, and this variable is created here, so it's a local variable. This is also same. This variable is created in method 1, and it's also a local variable. Without assigning any value, if you try to use a local variable in action in calling, most of the time you will see a compile time error. It's kind of an error. Don't worry about that for now. We are going to check them in next classes. However, yes, it's telling same thing. If you do not assign anything, it will cause a compile time error. You can create them without assigning anything, but if you want to use them, you should assign a value to them to use them. Otherwise, there will be a lot of red lines. Yes, I have always told you that local variables are created in methods, but there is also loop local variables. It is very same. The logic is very same. If you create a variable in the loop, it will be a local variable, and it will belong to the loop you have created it inside of it. This is a loop inside of the main method. We have on the main method here, and when you create variables in the loop, it doesn't matter which loop it is. If you create it in any loop like this, for example, integer number equals to 20. This one is created inside of the loop. I can see that from the curly brackets. After ending the loop, as long as you are in the loop, you can use it. But after the loop, when you try to increase its value, it will be impossible. It has been created here in the loop, and it belongs to the loop. It can be used only inside of the loop. Outside of the loop, there won't be a number variable. If you want to create it, you can, of course, again, and use it, but you cannot directly use it. And one more thing, actually, when we use loop, here, we always create a variable. This is integer I variable. And in the loop, we are using this variable. But if you try to use same I variable outside of the loop, it is not possible to use it because it's a loop variable. It can be only used in the loop. Okay, I think I covered that part too. This is a loop variable, loop local variable. You cannot use it outside of the loop. Integer I is same. It has been created in a loop. You cannot use it outside of the loop. Yes, they are not. It seems like they are created in the loop, but this is another smaller village in a big village, and the others won't be able to know what's going on in it. This is the main method. So before coming here, let's try to create a few code. Then we will talk about it. Today's package is day 17 scope. And the first class is coming. It is local variables. CO1 local variables. We create a loop, a variable inside of a method. You cannot reach it from outside of the method. If we create a variable inside of, let's say when we create of a method, that method can be used in the same method. that variable, the variable can be used in the method, the one we have created it inside of it. But outside of that method, that variable cannot be reached. That variable cannot be reached from outside of the method. Like a village, small village, outside other village will not know who our little guy Ali is. Okay, now let's create the main method here, main method. And I will create an integer number here. Integer number. It will be 10 for now. Let's create another one. This time I will create an str string variable, and the name will be my best friend Ali. So let's create another one. I will create another method here. Public void another method, method1. Okay, I can do anything with this number, right? Let's print it, for example. First, I will increase its value, number plus plus. Then let's print the value of number. Let's see. It will be 11, of course. We have increased its value by 1, and we are trying to print the value of it. It will print 11, as you can see. I will do the same thing with the str. I will try to print its value. So str. It works because we are in the same loop. We have created them in this loop, and we can use them. Okay, we did them. This variable is created in a main method, so it can be used in main method. This time, I will try to reach the number from another method. I will try to reach a variable that is created in a main method. Here the variable is number. This is another village, so I will try to print number. It cannot reach it, as you can see. We cannot reach a number variable because it is created in main method. It has been created in method 1. Okay, let's do the same thing. This time I will try to reach str and print it. So str. Again, it did not function. Okay. So, okay, I think we did it here. Let's create another variable in the method 1, and this time we will try to reach it from main method. Another double, let's say, double number will be 0. I have created it, but I cannot use it here. Let's call a variable from method 1. What was the name of the method? Variable double number. So double number. We cannot, of course, the reason is same. It does not belong here. This is other relates variable. We do not accept it. One more thing, and this one will be about assigning a value to a local variable. I will create another variable, integer, local variable, but I am not going to assign any value to it. We did not assign any value. Really give it now. What happens if I try to use it? So, local variable. I hope you can see the red line. It does not accept it, and the reason is local variable might not have been initialized. It means you haven't assigned it any value to it, so I do not know what to print. If I assign local variable to some value, the complaint will be gone, because now it has a variable, it will be able to print it. We cannot use an unassigned variable. An assigned local variable. Now let's write the explain here. We can create an unassigned local variable, but we cannot use it without assigning a value. Somewhere a value doesn't matter. So you let us. So why we are creating it here? You can create it to use it when you need it. It is acceptable. You can create it when you write it too. Okay, now let's create a for I loop. A loop, random loop. Let's check the loops. I will create a for I loop here. And the numbers are not a problem here. And I will also create a string variable here, string city. It will be London. Yes, we have a city here, and I mean, we do not need to do anything with it. We have created a loop local variable. When you say loop variable, it's also means a local variable, because you cannot create another variable in the loop variable. So, but still, let's mention the word here. But we cannot use it outside of the loop. This is the loop, it ends here. Let's try to print the value of city. So city. It will complain, as you can see. You cannot use a loop variable outside of the loop. Not use a loop variable at outside of the loop. I think that's enough. We have covered all the situations. At least I think so. The next one will be class variables. I will also create CO2 class variables. Scope topic is very important, you know. You should be aware of what you are creating, and the created value, how to use the created variable. If you create it inside of a method, you can only use it there. That's all. Short explaining it is that. Now let's try to create a few class level variables. I will create string str1 string str1, and I will assign a value to it. Awesome. So now let's see. I will make it static for now. I have created a string. The name is str1. Now after that, let's create main method. Can I directly print the value of str1? Yes, I can. Solve str1. Because of being a class level variable, you can reach it from everywhere. Let me create another method here, public void method 2. And in this one, I will also try to print it. So str1. Java is not complaining, and the color of all the str1s, all the colors are same. All of them's color is same. What happens if I create a loop here? For while loop. Can I use it here too? Yes, we can also use it here. So str1, there won't be any complaining for this variable. You can use it from everywhere. Plus level variables are created outside of any method, but they should be inside of the method. They should be created inside of the class limits. Class. Okay. If I try to print this, it will print Hassan. This will also print Hassan, and the result of this one will be Hassan 2. We have a lot of Hassan here. Okay. This one was static. Let's create an unstatic variable. String non-static str. It will be Ali. You know, a static variable can be used in static method, but non-static variables cannot be used in a static method, not directly at least. Let's try to reach this variable inside of the main method. So non-static str. As you can see, we cannot use it. And it says non-static field. Non-static cannot be referenced from a static content. We cannot call it from a static method. You know, static methods are elite parties, so non-statics cannot enter it. This variable cannot be used here because it doesn't have the authorization to enter this static party. It's very elite party, yeah, you know. And non-static variables cannot be used in static methods. We have another method, and as you can see, this one, the second one is not static. We should be able to use it here. What was the name? Non-static str. Let's try to print it. So non-static str. And here we can use it because the static is the method is not static. We can call or use a non-static variable in a non-static method without any problem. Without any problem. Okay, we have learned a lot of things here. Let's increase the number of the variables. I will create a lot of static variables and non-static variables, and we will try to use them. Now let's create this static integer. The number will be anything, it doesn't matter as long as it accepts it. I have forgotten to enter name number. And I will also create another string str2. It will be Winnie. It will be also a static variable. What about here? Let's create another string variable, string name John, and another one integer, or let's create another one, and this time we will phone number. I know that's a phone number, but I wanted to show you we can also use numbers in static variables, but of course they should be inside of the double quotes. A second, please. Okay. Let's continue. And if you want to try, if you let's try to use them. Let's try to use them here. So we have a number. It's a static variable. And I will change the number. This way it will be easier to follow. Okay. A second, please. I'm trying to check something here. Yes, the number, it's a static variable. What happens if I increase the number here? We increase the, and what will happen if I increase it one more time here? We are increasing same value here. Yes, I am using the same variable in different methods, but if it is 6,000 here, it will be 6,001. And here, when you call the method, it will the value will be increased one more time. So they are same variables. It's very important. If you remember, I told you when we create a local variable, we cannot use it without assigning any value to it. But it is not like that when we are talking about class variables. Let me write it here. When we create a class level variable, if we do not assign any value, they will receive default values, but it's only for class levels. They will be assigned to default values. I mean, let's create an integer number 1. As you can see, I am not assigning anything. It will be static. We did not assign any value. to class level variable. And I will try to reach this class level variable number 1 from the main method. You know, normally we should not be able to use it, but when I try to print it, number 1, we need not assign, was like this, right? Number 1, yes. Any value to number 1. It should take the default value, and the default value will be 0. And here it is. Let me write, when you create a string like this without assigning any value, of course, it will be, the string will be empty. Static str, static string str, or not assigned str. I will not assign any value to it, and let's try to print it. Solved, non-assigned. Oh, it should be static to use it here. Oh, it is not assigned str, okay. Not assigned str, here it comes. It is not complaining, as you can see. If you have done same thing by using a local variable, we cannot do it, but when we do it like this, it will print nothing. Let's write and explain before it. Not the string value. There will be nothing after that, just to show that I wrote and explained. It won't show 0, there will be nothing. Oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake here. When you do not assign anything to a string variable, default value is null. I'm really sorry there. It will print null. It means there is nothing inside of this string. Let's write default values according to the data types. If we do not assign anything to a class level variable, system will assign default values. Let's see, for example, if it is for numbers, default value is 0. Boolean will be false as default value. Char, if you do not assign it, it will have a space in it. And all object, including string, if you do not assign anything to them, will be null. That's all. Okay, let's have 10 minutes break time. Then we can continue in the next lesson. Okay, let's start the countdown. Oh, here it is. Let's have 12 minutes this time, and after 12 minutes, we will continue. Okay, welcome back. Let's continue where were we? We were talking about class variables, I know. And I think we have covered everything here. I hope you understood what I'm trying to explain here. And I hope I could be able to explain them. Mainly, if you create a variable in a method or loop, it will be a local variable, and you won't be able to reach it from other places. When you create it inside of the class, but outside of other methods and code blocks, it will be a class level variable. And the scope of this class level will be everywhere in the class. As long as it is static, you can use it in all methods. If it is not static, there will be a few more steps, but don't worry about that for now. Okay, if you go back to the slide. Yes. Let's think. We are planning to create an application for a hospital. How can we do that? In hospital, there will be a lot of doctors, of course, nurses, laboratory workers, and some staff, and also a lot of medical devices, and of course, patients. Yes, when we include all this, how can I say, all of them, we include all of them in the application, we can say we are creating a hospital project. How do we use class level variables in this project? You know, we understood that yes, class level means when we create it in a class, it will be a class variable. If it is created in a loop or method, it will be a local variable. How do we use them in a real application? Yes, we have two different kind of class level variable. The first one is static, and we have created a lot of class variable in the previous class. And the second one is instance variable. The other name is object variable. You can call it by both names. If it is static, you know it's static. If it is not, it means it is an instance or object variable. Yes. When we think about that, how do we create an instance variable or static variable? If the variable will be, I'm sorry. Okay. If the variable is same for everybody, for example, there are a lot of doctors, nurses, medical devices, and the name of the hospital will be same for everybody. Let's say this is Star Hospital. The name of hospital is Star. So if I ask nurse, hey, what's the name of your hospital? She will say Star. If I ask doctor, it will be same for him too. It will be Star. And staff and personnel will give you same answer. It will be Star. And if I change it to anything, I couldn't be able to think Center Hospital. The name will be changed for everybody. So there should be only one hospital name, and it will be same for everybody. In this kind of situations, it should be static. I will try to explain it in detail, but for now, let's say it this way. If there will be only one variable, and if it will be same for everybody, you should create it static. For example, hospital number, it will be same for everybody, right? And if I change it, everybody's hospital number will change. I'm not talking about other numbers. The hospital's number, And hospital address. Yes, it will be same for everybody. Everybody will be working in same hospital. Hospital's address should be static too. Instance variables. It means if it is changing for each person. Let's say for the nurse one, the first nurse we have in the hospital. Let's say her name is Ayşe. And other nurses will have different names, right? So Ayşe should be an instance variable. If the value is changing for each person, it should be an instance variable, object variable. We will create objects here. So don't worry. If it is same for everybody, it should be static. For example, hospital name, hospital address, hospital phone number will be same for everybody. So they should not be an instance variable. They should be static variables. We are all talking about class level variables. If you make it static, there will be only one variable. But if you make it an instance variable, it will be changed for each person in this hospital. As you can see, personal name, personal address, personal phone, device number, phone number will be different for each object. They can be same, but it doesn't matter here. Most of the time, they will be different. For this kind of things, you should create them as instance variables. Okay. One more thing here. Let me check something. So let's go back to the. Let's continue from the slide. Yes, we have a hospital and the hospital name, hospital address, and phone number. They are all here. The first nurse, the name is Star, address is Chankaya, and she has a phone number. Don't try to call it, it's a random number. When you have another nurse, she has a different name and address will be somewhere in the China, and phone number will be different, of course. Another nurse, Fatma, different address, different phone number. Things like that. If they are changing for each person, they should be instance variable. They shouldn't be static. But hospital name, hospital address, and hospital phone will be same for everybody. If you ask nurse one, what is the name of your hospital? She will say same thing. And the answer of this question for all of them will be same. Address will be Çankaya, Ankara, blah, blah, and the phone will be same too. So if they are the same for everybody, they should be static variables. That's the key. Each variables are specific for each object, therefore they should not be static. If it is changing for each object here, they should not be static. Actually, this is a nurse object. We are going to store all the members of this hospital as an object. This is the first object, this is the second one, and this is the third one. And it continues like this. If you want to add another nurse, you should create another object for her. We haven't learned that much, but don't worry, in time we will cover that part too. Yes, the static variables sometimes are called class variables because the value belongs to the class. But common variables, I mean, instance or object variables belong to the objects, nurses, like this. These are objects created from hospital class. You can say that. Yes, instance object variables. Let's use class variables and object variables. When you create an object variable, the system will create a duplicate variable for each object. For the name, when you create the first personal, when you create a name, it will belong to the nurse one only. The name will belong to the first person, this nurse. The second name will be second nurse's name. It won't be affected from other objects you are planning to create. Yes, I know this part a little mixed. Let's try to write a few things here, and we will try to understand by coding. Oh, I will create another class here, CO3, static variables, object variables. Until now, we do not know how to create an object, but don't worry. I will try to explain that part too. But for now, I'm not going to create any object. I will create name method. And let's write a few things about the class variables. By class variable, class level variable and class variable are different things. Don't forget that. Class and level variables. When a variable is created in a class level, the name of it will be class level. The name will be class level. It doesn't matter if it is static or not. It does not change if it is, how can I write it? Being static or not does not change anything. I mean, if it is not static, it will be still as class level variable. If it is created in the class level. Class variable, other name is static variable. Most of the time we mix them. Static variable. When you create a class level variable static, it will be a class variable. When class level variable is created as a static variable, the name will be class variable. The other name is static variable. If you use static variable, it will be better because otherwise we will always mix it with class level variable. For class variables, we will use static variable. Instance variable. The other name is object variable. If when a class level variable is not static, it will be an instance variable. So I think it's okay, right? Let me check. Where were we? Yeah. Okay, we have covered all of things here, and that's enough. Oh, let's write something here too. If we are creating a variable which will be common for all the objects in the application, we can will be same. Let's say common is not right word. I think it will be same for all the objects in the application. We can make it a static variable. We can create it as a static variable. As a static variable. Like hospital name, address, hospital address, etc. When we are talking about the instance variables, if it is changing for each object. If a value is changing for each object, it should be instance variable. Like doctors' names. For example, each doctor will have a different name, usually. Okay, let's go back to the slide. Yes, we have talked about instance variables. Yes, class level variables. In the let's think now, we have created a hospital application. What about the hospital name? It should be static, right? There will be only one hospital name, and it will be same for everybody. What about this one? Hospital phone. It will be same for everybody too. And when I change it for one person, it will be changed for all of them. What about personal name? Every personal will have a different name, of course. It shouldn't be a static variable. It is same for the surname too. It shouldn't be static because for each person, it will be different. On vocation, is the person personnel on vocation, of course, this will be a different value for each one of them. If it was static, when I say on vocation, everybody will go and nobody will there. So there should be a few people left in the hospital, so it should be non-static variable. I mean object variable. Age, everybody will have a different age, of course. If you are not talking about the hospital's age, it should be non-static like this. When we are talking about the class level variables, we do not need to assign any value to them. They will take default value. And string is a non-private variable. Directly, if you don't assign anything to it, they will have null value. If you try to print it, the value will be null. And here, this will also another one, hospital phone. It will be the same for everybody, and when you print it, it will be printed like this. Okay. Let's try to create a lot of different variables and how we can reach them and use them. I will try to explain that part. Okay, let's go back and write a few things about the class level variables. I think we have covered a lot of things. It is okay to, oh, sorry. Okay. Now let's try to understand object variables. I will create another class to understand. Let's say we are trying to create an hospital application. It won't be an application, of course, but still to understand how class level and variable level variables, how class variables and object variables work. Okay. I will create another one. The name will be object variables. CO4 object variables. I will create all the variables here. Let's create a static string hospital name. There will be only one hospital name, so I create it like this. The name will be star hospital. And let's create the phone number. It will be static too, because it will be same for everybody. I will use static string. Of course, I can use numbers too, but it is not going to be used in math calculations, so I prefer using string data type. What about the number of patients? Will it be different for each object, or it will be same for everybody? Yes, if you are counting all the patients in the hospital, it should be same for everybody, right? A number of patients should be same for everybody. Okay, let's do that. Static. This time, we are going to use this number in math calculations. We will increase it in time. So instead of string data type, we should use integer, number of patients. Okay. It will equal to any number. It doesn't matter what number it is. But I will use a simple number so we can remember it. So, okay. Let me create personal name, string personal name. I'm not going to assign anything to it for now. And I did not make it static because every personal's name will be different. String personal surname. And we can create a number for personal numbers. Integer personal number of personals. Again, I did not assign anything. For both of them, the default value will be null, and the integer number of personals will be assigned to 0 because default value for numbers is 0. We have them. And let's write a few explaining. All of them are class level, right? Class level variables. These are class variables. These are object variables, but all of them are class level variables because they have been created inside of the class and outside of the methods. This is the method, and there's nothing inside of it. All of them are class level variables because they are created in a class level and outside of methods. And what's the scope of this these variables? These variables scope is all class. When you create a class level variable, you can reach it from everywhere. if we create a non-static variable, it will be an object variable. It will be different. We can assign different value for each object. If it is static, there will be only one solid variable, same one variable value for it, and for every body it will be same one, same value. The other name is instance variable. Am I making a typo here? I'm not sure. Static means class variable. Okay, now we will visit another. I will create another class, and we will try to reach those variables. Well, let's create another one. CO5. The name will be object variables. Okay, we have created it. Let me create main method. Do you remember how can I reach a variable in different class? I am in this class and we haven't written anything here. There is no code here. And I want to reach this previous class variables. If you want to print, value hospital name we created in CO4 class, we can reach it by using the class name. Class name of the variable will be the address. We can reach it by using the class name. Sorry, I have told you out of times class level. So whenever I say class, level comes after it. But this address is the class name. Let's start. I want to print the value. So I have, because of that, I am using sort command. Then I will try to reach this class by writing its name, CO4. I'm trying to reach another class inside of the day 17 package. This is the one I'm looking for. Don't worry about the others. This pale value, the name will be name of the package. And I will click on this one. Object variables, CO4 object variables. That's the right one. After the address, the name of the class, if you press dot, it will give you a few values, as you can see. Hospital name, hospital phone, a number of patients. Let's go back. There were only 3 variables there. Hospital name, hospital phone, number of patients. Not all of them. As you can see, if you try to reach the variables by using the class name, you can only reach the static variables. Hospital name, phone, patient. Let's go back and check it again. I will press dot again. Name, phone, and number of blah blah. We cannot reach other variables. How can we reach them? Don't worry, in time we will be able to reach it. But for now, let's say we cannot. Don't worry, I will try to explain it too. Okay. Let's try to reach hospital name. When I run this, it will print me Star Hospital, of course, because I have created it in the previous class like this. Okay, it's working. I can reach another variable from other classes. if it is static for now. Of course, everything is reachable. Just we need to know how to reach it. Okay, let's print the number of hospitals, patients. Oh, again, we need to reach the plus dot a number of patients. This is a number, you know. If you try to print it, it will print the number. It was 600, I think. Okay. So I will write something here. What happens if I increase the value of this number of patients? Let's say we are accepting new patients. Instead of printing it, I will directly reach it CO4, number of object variables, number of patients, and I will increase the value of it. Again, I will do the same thing one more time. Can you tell me what will happen if I try to print the value of number of patients from previous class? Let me check. If you have any suggestion, you can write it in YouTube channel, Zoom channel, or Slack channel. We accept answers from everywhere. Yes, we have created this variable in different class, and then I have reached it, and as you can see, I could be able to print the value. And then without printing the value, I increase the value twice. Then I am trying to print the value. When I run it, we will be able to see as you can see, the value is increased. Even though it has been created in different class, the value is increased. So the critical point, we are in the main method of the previous class. If I print the value of the patients, what will happen? Sort number of patients. What will we see here? What is the number of the patients? When I run it, you will see the value here. It is still 600. What happened to the patient that we have added here? Yes, Java is runtime programming language. When you run the code, as long as code continues, you can increase and decrease the values. But when you stop it or rerun it from the scratch, everything will start from beginning stage. In this class, when we run it, it will check the number of patients. It is 600, and it will increase the value of it by 1 and by 2, and it will print the result. Every time when I print it, the values will be the same. And you can understand it from here. It was 300, 600, and it is 602. If I run it one more time, it will start again from 600. Starting value is the value you set here. It will always start from that value. You will say, okay, so how does hospitals works? They have a database. Those values will be saved there, not in the programming language. And if you close the server, Star Hospital application, this kind of information will be stored in the database, and when you restart it, it will be taken from there again. Every application uses a database. It is very unwise to not to use a database. And yes, it may work, but let's say what happens if electricity is cut, everything will be start from scratch. If it is not important like a game, or it's possible, you can run and stop the application if you are not planning to save a save file. Okay, where were we? We're talking about different things. Okay, let's create another method here. I want to show you something else. I will create another method, public static void method 3. It doesn't matter, I can also use method 1, but I prefer using different names. I will try to reach same variable from CO4 object variables dot number of patients, and here I will increase it. And here, after increasing it twice, I will call this method. The only function of this method is increasing the number of patients. Method 3. And let's call it one more time. I called same method twice. And what will be the one of number of patients? We know that each time we execute, we run the class, it will start from 600. And now, what will be the last value of the this variable? Okay. Let me check everywhere. I will wait for a few seconds for you to think. Let's run it now. Okay, 604. Because we have reached the same variable and I have increased it twice here. And then I have used a method to increase it. And it added, each time we added one more value, we add 1. So it is like this, +1, another +4 comes from here, and another 1. And from here, we have another +1. The total value is 4, and the last value will be here 604. This part was easy part. The system has been calculated like this. Let's write a few things here. When we try to see the results, when we try to follow a code, read the code, let's say, instead of follow, read the code. We should start from main method. As you can see, we have a main method, here it is, and everything will start from here. Nothing starts from other methods. Main method has a green triangular here, and when I click on it, it will execute the code. But there is no run button here, because this is not main method. Everything starts from the main method. When you see out of methods like this, just directly go to the main method and follow the code. If I cancel them, if I do not call this method, then number of patients will not be increased. It will be 602, because even though I wrote here number of patients to increase it, if you don't call it, it won't be executed, and the result will be 602. Here it is. When you call it, methods works. Other methods work, otherwise they do not. Okay, let's go back to the slide. Okay, we haven't learned how to create a object, but we will. Yes, class level, about the class level variables. The first rule, we do not need to assign any value to them. To use them, they will take the default values. If we assign values, of course, we can use them, but without assigning, the values will start from default value. Yes, default values for string it is null. Numeric numbers it is 0. Char it is not nothing. Okay. For Boolean it will be false. Also, the second rule is if you create a static variable, you can use it from a whole class because of being static. And all methods, including static methods and non-static methods, can call it. You know, a static method is a static party, elite party, and normal people cannot enter it. By normal, I mean non-static variables. But non-static variables cannot be used in a static method. They cannot enter elite party, sorry. Yes, to reach or use non-static variables, we need to create an object. This is the key point. I will try to explain this part. Let's go back to the code. Okay, I have a static method here. Let's go here. We have a lot of static and non-static variables, and this is the main method, main method and static method. Let's create a normal method here. Public void non-static method with the name, and here we are in the non-static method. This main method is a static method. Let me close this part to understand better. I will try to reach. I have tried to reach number of patients here, and I did. What happens if I try to reach personal name? Well, let's assign something to it. Not enter it. If I try to reach this personal name, so personal name. As you can see, I cannot reach it because it is not static. It is not a static variable. Not reach it because we can not use, or let's say because non-static variables cannot be used in static methods. There's a way to reach it. What about the non-static method? I will try to reach the number of patients. So number of patients, we can. What happens if I try to reach personal name? So personal name. Here I can reach it. This is a normal party, everybody can enter. In a normal method, I mean by normal, I mean non-static, all variables can be used. In static methods, only static variables can be used. That's not totally true. We will try to reach normal variables too in a non-static method, but let's have it after the break time. This time we will have 30 minutes, and after 30 minutes, we will start the next code. Okay, everybody, let's continue. Where were we? Yes, we were planning to reach a non-static variable from a static method. You know, non-static variables are object variables. So to reach them, we need to create an object. How do we create an object? Actually, we have created a lot of objects. Do you know scanners? Scan, new. When we do it like this, actually, we are creating a scan object from scanner class. We will follow the same instruction. If you want to reach a non-static variable, or if you want to change it, you need to create an object from this class. Let's create an object from this class, and the class name is CO4. CO4 object variables, and the name of the object can be anything. Oh, sorry, there's a technical problem, I think. Let me check. Okay, how do we create an object from? I'm sorry, Aaron, sorry. I think there's a problem with YouTube a live session. I informed technical staff and they will check it. Okay, the name of the object, then you should give a name to the object. Object one equals new space and the name of the class you say. I have created an object. And this object will have these variables. These are not static, and I have created object from this class. These are the class variables that will belong to the class. When I create an object from this class, it will take object variables, but it will create a copy of them. The object will have these three variables. There will be a copy of them. Each one of them will be copied to this object. Let's write the object name and done. Here, all the non-static variables are here. Number of personnels. Oh, it should be static, of course. But don't worry about them. Don't worry about the names. And these are non-static, and I can use personal name and surname. Let's change the personal name. Personal name will be Hasan. Object one's personal name will be personal surname, sorry. Veli. Now I will create another one. Let's create another object. Now again, I have to write the name of the class, then the object name. Name of the class is CO4 object variables. The name will be object 2, and the value will be new space and the name of the class. I have created another object. This object can have different names. Of course, this is the another personal. Object 2, personal name will be something else. Ayşe. And the surname will be object 2's personal surname will be wrong. This should be 2. Okay, we have two different objects, and as you can see, Personal name and surname was non-static variables. And I could be able to reach them by creating objects. How did I do that? I just wrote the class name of the class, a random object name. It can be anything, personal1, personal2, and new again class name and normal brackets. You can create a lot of different names like this. So if I try to reach object one's personal name, so object one's personal name, and after that, if I try to print object two's personal name, the names will be different. The first one will be Hassan because it's a different person, different object, different person. And the second one will be Aisha. What happens if I try to reach a hospital name? For both of them, the hospital name will be same. But let's see names first. Object one's name will be Hassan, seconds will be Aisha, as you can see. It's working. Okay, let's go back to slide and continue from there. Yes, if you want to access or use instance variables inside of the static method, we need to create an object from the class. If they are in different class, you need to create that class's object. Yes, we can use them directly in a non-static methods. Let's continue. To access static variables from other classes, it is sufficient to write class name dot variable name. Here we have a hospital name, hospital form. Those are static, and let's say the class's name is scope, and this is another class or method. Directly, I can reach it by writing the name of the class. But to reach non-static variables, first I need to create an object. Then by using this object, I can reach the values. So shortly, if you want to use a static variable, we can just use it by writing the class name from anywhere. If it is a non-static variable, I mean object variable, we should create an object from the class. Then by using that object, we can reach the variable. Yes, in order to access or use instance variables, object variables, I need to create an object. Okay. Let's do an overview. What is scope? The scope, when you use this to something, determines from where you can use the variable. That's all. There are 4 types of different scopes. The first one is class level, but if it is static, you can directly reach it. Static variables can be reached from all the methods. It's very important. If it is static, okay, you can reach it from everywhere. Let me show you. Instance variables, from this here, let's try to find them. I will carry this one. This number is static number, as you can see. Let me use pencil. It has been created outside of any method. This is the main method. This is a static method. And this is a non-static method. Okay. And here, outside of any method, and it has been created with static keyword, and there's a data type. It means this is a static variable. It can be reached from everywhere. In the static method, main method, we can directly use the number. There's no complaining, nothing is right. So, okay. The next number is here. In a normal static method, it's very similar with the main method, but the main thing we can call, we can change, or we can reassign it. The main thing is we can see there's no letters or underlines, so we can use it. What about the normal method, non-static method? Again, I can print the value of the number. The thing is, I can reach it. If it is static and class level, it means it can be used from everywhere. If it is static, you can use it everywhere. Instance variables. If it is not static, it will be an instance variable. I mean object variable. Like this one. It has been created in class level, but it is not static. Before the 4. Yes. Let's see. Lesson. You know, static party does not accept normal people, normal variables, so you cannot use it. It is red. I will continue. Here we are. I am trying to use same variable. Still, this is static method. You cannot use it. Whenever we come here, lesson. We can use it because it is not static, and this method is also a non-static method, so directly you can use it. Okay, locally created variables. Everyone knows their neighborhood. Yes, let's talk about the local variable. To understand if it's local or not, you should know there should be a data type before it. This is the data type, and it has been created in a method. This will be a local variable. From outside of this method, where it has been created, you cannot reach it. This Ali, little guy, little child, belongs to this village. Other than outside of this village, nobody knows who this main number is. This is another method. If I try to use it, Java will complain because it's a local variable. You cannot reach or use it from other methods. Here, another example. This is a non-static method. Still, we cannot use it. If we create a local variable, here, lesson 3 has been created in for I loop. This variable can be used in the for loop, nowhere else. Here, outside of the loop, when I try to use it, assign it to something else, the system won't be able to reach it. It will complain. Okay. Variables created in a method can only be accessed from that method. Yes, we have talked about that. Here we have another method, and this variable has been created inside of this normal method, non-static method. And when I try to reach lesson 2 here, Java will complain because it will say it has been created in different method, you cannot reach it. Still, this variable belongs to this method. It is a local one. This lesson 2 is being taught in this method, nowhere else. Nowhere else. Where is the 4th one? Here. The variables created in a loop cannot be accessed outside of the loop. Yes, we have talked about that too. Lesson 3, like lesson 3, SQL When you create it in a loop, you cannot reach it from outside of the loop. Okay, we have a question here. Let's try to answer following questions. But before, let's try to understand. We have a class starting and ending here. It has two class level variables because it is not in any other methods. This is the main method starting and ending here. We have a private method. Don't worry about the private. Private means you can access it only from the same class. And we have other private static method. We have a few variables inside of them. And if you want to reach a non-static variable from a static method, you have to create a method, create an object from the class. The class name is scope. So I think we understood what's going on here. Let me continue. Which lines contain local variables? Okay. Local variables means the variables created in a loop or method. Let's check. This is a class level. This is also class level. We are creating an object here. We are not creating any variable. We are printing the value. Here, we are reassigning str to something. Here, the data type. We are creating a local variable here. When we use data type and the value name, variable name in a method, it will be a local variable. Let's continue. This is the second one. This does not have any data type, so we are not creating it here. But what about this one? This is a local variable, as you can see. Let me delete everything. We have created and assigned the value. Okay, this is a local variable. What about this one? William is correct. It has a data type and a name, but it doesn't have any value. We haven't assigned any value to it, but we have created another local variable here. Integer and number. It is same. Data type and variable name. No assigned value, but still is a local variable. Let's go to the next one. This does not have any data type, so we are not creating it here. It is same for this one too, but this one is a local variable. As you can see, data type, value, variable name, and value. Okay, I think we could be able to explain. What are the scopes and values of variables created at class level? When you create a variable inside of the class level, the scope of it is all class. From the static variable, we cannot directly reach a non-static variable, but don't worry, there is a way to do it. Which lines have compile time error and need to be corrected? Oh, this is an interesting one. For this one, we have to check them very carefully. Okay, we have created an str. When you create a non-primitive data type, you do not need to assign any value to it. If it is in class level, it will have null. This one is not static. If you want to reach it in a non-static static method, we have to create an object. Okay, I cannot be able to see an error here. Everything is created accordingly. Here, we are creating an object from the scope. It is okay. And here I am trying to print the phone. This is a static method. and this is a non-static. Oh yes, as you can see, this is a static party. People are having fun here. This is a normal guy. They won't accept him here. You cannot directly print it. What about this one? This is the object we have created before, and we are trying to reach str. Normally, to reach a static variable, we do not need to use object. We can directly print it. But still, we can also use the object. This won't cause any problem. So, we are creating a number, okay. There's no problem here. Here, method 2, I am sending a number. I'm calling method 2, but at the same time, I am sending the number. Number is here, 15. 15 will go to the method 2. Here we are, number from now on will be 15. Whenever I see number here, I will say it is 15. Okay, we have created another. Here, this is a static method. I am trying to add str, and I am trying to add dot to it. When we come over here, as you can see, actually this was, we did not assign any value to it. And it was null. We cannot do that, right? This was null. When we try to add a dot to it, it won't accept it because str does not have any value. If it does not have any value, you cannot add dot to it. You can reassign it, but you cannot add. So this is not acceptable. Phone, again, the system is trying to reach phone, but it is not a static variable. So this is a static method. This will cause a compile time error. The last one is a complicated one. You are trying to create a number, integer number. Normally it is acceptable, but here in this method, I'm sorry, we have already created an integer number. So we cannot recreate it. So this is not also acceptable. Okay, let me check. I hope it is understandable for everybody. I want to check something. So let's review scope, static, and objects. I will create a short version for us to understand. I will create an hospital class. I will do similar things. I will also create a nurse class. Or do I need to create nurse class? Okay, hospital class. Hospital class will have a name, of course. It will be static. And I will create it in class level. Static string hospital name. It will be star hospital. Static string hospital form. It will be anything. Don't worry about it now. Oh, this doesn't look like hospital to me. Let's change the name. Do we need to add other things? Everything should be static in hospital. Okay. Let's create another one. Doctor. I have another class. And when we are talking about the doctors, everything should be, I'm planning to create different doctors from this class as objects. So all doctors will have non-static variables, right? Like the name, surname, string, doctor name. It can be anything. I'm not going to assign anything to it because it will change for everybody. Now, let's say not assign. Doctor surname and doctor age. We are not going to add anything to it, so or you can create an integer to increase it one by every year. Age and phone number. Things like that. And let's create another one, nurse. Okay, nurse. I will create the same things for the nurse too. But doctor's name is will be nurse name. Nurse. Okay, we have hospital, nurse, and doctor classes. I will have another class. Let's say this will be the application. Oh, we should use different name to place it under other classes. Application. The application. Okay, that's better. So let's create the main method. Now in the application, I want to print the hospital name. So where is the hospital? It is in all the information about the hospital is created in hospital class. Hospital dot hospital name. Okay, let's print the hospital form. So again, to reach an information in another class, I need to enter hospital class name and the phone number. You know, this is a class, and if the variables are static, I can directly reach them. Okay, I'm continuing using the application. What happens if I try to reach a doctor's name? So doctor dot, there's nothing there because all the information about this doctor, all the variables are non-static. It means we have created a template for doctors, but there's no doctor in the hospital. You know, first we need to create a doctor. By using the application, let's create our first doctor. Doctor, our first doctor, name doctor. We have created the first doctor's informations. It will directly copy the object, the created object will directly copy all the variables from here. First doctor, when I enter dot, I can reach age dot, phone number, everything. Doctor's name will be, first doctor's name will be Hassan. Surname, age, phone. Surname, age, phone. Let's change this really. Age will be anything. Phone number. Okay, I have created my first doctor and I have entered all the variables. Let me create another one. I will also create another doctor. Doctor, second doctor. I'm creating second one. And I will enter everything here. Ali. He's a very young doctor. I can say that, and different phone number. So I have created my second doctor, as you can see. Oh, this should be second doctors. Okay, I have entered this name here, second doctor's name and surname. As you can see, a hospital cannot be created like this. The hospital name will be always same. But first doctor and second doctor, because of we have created another object for them, can be different. I want to tell you a different story. How can I do that? Okay, let me do something. A second, please. We have a hospital, and let's say we have similar hospitals, and for them we will have changeable things. All hospitals name will be Star Hospital, but we are opening another small hospital in a different place. And another one, we have 3 small hospitals, and all of them, when we talk about them, the name will be Star Hospital, but the little ones will have different names. Citrine, a little hospital name. And for now, we are not going to assign anything to them. Okay. Now I will create an object from hospital. First small hospital, new hospital. Okay, I have created my first small hospital, and I can change the little hospital's name. It will be Kızılay Hospital. Okay, I have changed the name of the first small hospital. I will create another hospital. Second small hospital. New hospital. Now let's change its name to second. That hospital name will be Çankaya. We have two different hospitals. But let's try to print something. So first hospital's little hospital name, it will print Kızılay Hospital. If I try the second hospital's name, it will print the Çankaya Hospitals. Let's see. Here. Okay, but still big hospitals name is same for all of them, right? Well, how did you create it? Hospital name. This time I will use a little hospital, first little hospital dot hospital name. If I try to print this, what will be printed? Still, big hospital's name is Star Hospital. It won't change. Here it is. So, first hospital dot hospital name If I reassign it, need a super hospital. I have changed the big hospital's name. After that, if I try to print it, it will not be Star Hospital. It will be Super Hospital. Because I have changed the value of a bigger hospital. Okay, the critical part. If I try to print the same value by using the second object, what will happen? Second small hospital dot hospital name. If I try to print it, oh, I cannot write it. So, you know, first hospitals, I'm trying to reach the big hospital's name from the second object. Okay, it also changed. We will talk about this later, but for now, I think it's enough. If you don't have any question, and I cannot see any question for now. Okay, thank you very much for today. We will continue on tomorrow. Good night.